and businesses? What have you done to build coalitions and stand up for this community on projects like rail and the training center and CSO and infrastructure and transportation and job creation and making sure this community is an energy hub, not just for Virginia, but the world? These are the questions that we should be working on. Those are the answers you should demand from both of us. This is too important. The questionnaire was intended to ask which revenue sources should be designated to transportation and how we were going to service the bonds that were in the Speaker's Bill 3202 in 2008. That's what the question was. And when I was asked in that meeting the best way to fund transportation, do you know what my answer was? The best way we can fund transportation is not to raise taxes, but to recruit and expand business in Virginia, to create jobs, and to work on public-private partnerships. That's the best way. Ladies and gentlemen, this election is going to come down to trust. It is going to come down to integrity. It's going to come down to who is serving this community. And I welcome you being here tonight because I cannot tell you how important I think this is.
The question really deals with, do I believe that we should toll existing roads? And I do not. And more importantly, I don't believe Virginians believe that we should toll existing roads. I don't think that anyone in this room wants us to go put a toll booth on 460 or 29. I don't believe it's a way of incentivizing people to come into our community to bring their heritage tourism dollars to consume in our community. I am concerned, however, again, and I hate to keep coming back to this questionnaire, but it is our delegates' words in our own handwriting. And we can say that these questions taken out of context are what they are. But the next question on this list is, what revenue sources do you think are most appropriate to dedicate to transportation funding and to service transportation bonds? First is raising gasoline taxes. The second is raising general sales taxes. And another is raising fees on driver's license. And two others are creating brand new taxes. So it's all well and good to say we're not going to raise taxes. But when Delegate Valentine spoke to a group of 100 lobbyists, in her own words, she said she would agree with, or said yes, sales taxes on auto repair services. So the worst day of your life, when you got a flat tire and you get it fixed, you're going to have to pay more sales tax on that. And increasing sales taxes on gasoline. My friends, these are regressive taxes. They hurt the least among us the most. Our working folk, and there's a lot in this room, and those on fixed incomes. I don't believe that tolling existing roads will be of any benefit to our Commonwealth.
I believe we need to look at a comprehensive transportation system in the Commonwealth that includes our highways, rail, transit, and air. We need a comprehensive system. The fact that our Commonwealth has needed $1 billion to deal with transportation would not need to be footnoted if you were in the General Assembly. We've been working on this issue ever since I arrived and long before, and it's certainly why it's one of the reasons that the gubernatorial candidates are really being dogged on this particular issue. It's incredibly important to the future economic prosperity of Virginia. The Thomas Jefferson Institute for Public Policy, a very conservative forum, stated there was no better way for Virginia to spend its money than on transportation infrastructure. The questionnaire was asking which revenue sources should be designated to transportation. And do you know why the question was asked? Because over the years, the Transportation Trust Fund has been raided for other purposes. When we run out of funds in the general fund, which covers education, healthcare, and public safety, we have gone to the Transportation Trust Fund to take those funds and use them for other purposes. That's why we were talking about which revenue sources should be designated to transportation. And if you follow through the questionnaire, which is on my website, the entire questionnaire is on my website. You all can read it for yourself. I have a new section on Shannon, under Setting the Record Straight. It's all there for you to see. But if you read further down, it says, would you protect the Transportation Trust Fund? Which is why the sequence of the answers. I co-patron protecting the Transportation Trust Fund. That's how important I believe this is. As far as tolling, we have federal requirements on what can be tolled here in Virginia. It covers interstates, primary roads, and it's the same philosophy as a member of the Transportation Committee in the House of Delegates that most of us adhere to. I can't say everyone, but this is how the votes have gone. This is what I believe. There should be no tolling on existing roads unless there's additional capacity. In Northern Virginia, what they're doing is adding lanes to roads like 66 and allowing cars, once this all goes through, to be able to ride in the lanes. If you have 3 passengers, it's free. If it's 2 or 1, you pay a fee, and it depends on the time of day. You ride in that lane during rush hour, you pay a higher fee. If you're there at 11 o'clock, somebody said it was a nickel. It's very small. But we're allowing the market forces in this economy to drive transportation. It's a very smart way to do it. We cannot toll bridges or existing highways unless there's a renovation project that's more than 50%. More than 50% of the infrastructure must be renovated. And lastly, I have never supported a toll, nor would I ever support a toll that did not have a free alternative. I have the opportunity to vote on that in Hampton Roads. Is that the red light? I'm just glowing. But there must be a free alternative. I will also say this, just to show you why this questionnaire is not accurate or true as far as raising taxes. On it, I did say that the gas tax should be designated to transportation. I had the opportunity to vote on a gas tax. I voted against the gas tax. And quite frankly, I have been very clear and very solid that during this economy, we should not be raising any taxes at all. And the truth is, we have not.
Delegate Valentine, you will be asked to respond first to the next question. We'll move on to education. There are a couple of education questions here, so I'm going to do them separate because they are a little bit different. But one of your possible constituents says that the money spent per pupil and the test results according to their ability level concerns them. Would you demand more accountability when schools continue to demand a blank check, and you'd be branded as anti-education if you don't keep throwing more money on the fires? Basically, is the current system of accountability proper when they're demanding more money for schools? And should there be more accountability into the mix?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I look at transportation on the ground. I apologize. I look at education as a complete system. through 12, our high schools, kind of in a separate arena, community college, I know I moved and they asked me not to, community colleges and higher ed. The whole purpose behind our educational system is to create the work